This movie takes he said, she said to a whole new level. You're watching Beyond the Triller's review of The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby.
Everyone starts out thinking this is forever, but then things get hard.
I can't do this anymore.
I have no clue where she's gone. She's vanished.
None of us know how to help you.
Please stop reminding me that something's wrong.
You look like hell.
Thanks.
I often call Harvey Weinstein the Oscar Whisperer in honor of his stunning awards track record, but today I'm going to call him the fairy godfather. That's because he's elevated newbie writer-director Ned Benson from Columbia film grad making short films for about $500 a piece to Academy Awards frontrunner. Then again, Benson did more than just cry in the garden. He constructed a beautiful movie pitch. Or maybe some cute little mice and birds did. Anyway, Benson first won over production company Myriad Pictures, who'd previously produced films like The Good Girl, Being Julia, and Kinsey, before focusing primarily on television show The Borgias, which landed on Showtime. Benson's pitch wasn't just one movie, but two. A modern, tumultuous romance where each film told one side of the story, his and hers, or him and her, as the two films were called when they debuted at the Toronto International Film Festival last year, starring Oscar fave Jessica Chastain, who also produces, and cult fan fave James McAvoy. In fact, the seeds for Benson's experiment had been expertly planted, with the film first announced at the Berlin Film Festival, then set to star Chastain and Joel Edgerton, and then again at Cannes, where McAvoy took over for Edgerton. So surely it was on Weinstein's radar going into Toronto, and he did indeed pick it up. But there was a catch. Realizing that while Academy members would love to sit through two whole movies telling the exact same story from two different sides, it would be a tougher sell to the media and mainstream audiences, who Weinstein needs in his corner to earn this film some momentum. So then was cut a compilation of the two films that kind of flies in the face of the entire concept of the project in the first place. Them hits theaters first in September, and then if you want to be a really good friend to this couple, you can see each of their sides in more detail in October when both him and her will be released separately. This does seem to be the awards season for gimmicks, with first Boyhood and now this. Overall, audiences were pleased with Boyhood's payoff. Can the same be said for The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby? So I'm going to give writer-director Ned Benson and Jessica Chastain, who produces as well as stars here, the benefit of the doubt and assume that this experiment of theirs works better as originally intended, two separate films. Because as a single film, it does not work. And the biggest problem with them is that it keeps you at a distance. James McAvoy and Jessica Chastain spend most of the film telling all their friends and relatives that they don't want to talk about this horrible thing that's happened to them. But apparently they don't want to talk to the audience either. And as a result, you feel like they're friends and family. And maybe that's the intended result. But let me ask you this. Do you enjoy spending time with someone who insists that you be in their presence and their company while they're in a very bad mood, a very destructive mood, but they won't tell you why they're upset, who they're upset with, or make any effort to try and improve their mood? Do you like doing that in real life? Of course you don't. And it's not entertaining as a movie either. Also, it's very hard for me even to review this film because clearly Ned Benson intends there to be a lot of slow reveals throughout the film. And as a result, the trailer for this film is actually quite misleading. So forget anything you think you know about this film going in because it's probably wrong. And I think that's part of what was difficult for me because I had one orientation from the trailers where I thought this was going to be kind of like a dissection of a relationship from the beginning to maybe the end. But that was not what it was at all. So I spent a good first 15, 20 minutes of the movie being like, are we jumping back and forth in time here? What's going on? I can't tell what that haircut's supposed to signify. Is this the future, the present, the past? It was just really confusing. And so I can applaud the ambition of trying to do a slow burn with all these reveals, but I can just tell you that in this instance, it did not work. Also, I feel that Joel Edgerton would have been much better in this film. He has a hardness and an ambiguous quality to him that Jessica Chastain shares, and so I think they would have been a good match. But here, James McAvoy puts it all out there. He's a very emotional actor, not only in his delivery, but just his look, the way he uses his physical, body language. And as a result, you feel so bad for him throughout the entire movie. He and Jessica Chastain spend most of it fighting, and they're quite cruel to each other. But she comes off as meaner because James McAvoy is just so sweet and wonderful and kind. You're like, who would be so cruel to James McAvoy? So she doesn't stand a chance in winning the audience over to her side by pitting herself up against James McAvoy. Another problem with Jessica Chastain is that she has this really high fashion haircut and also this very goth makeup look that she adopts in the film. And it looks great. She looks very beautiful. But it's such a glamorous, high maintenance look that it doesn't fit with the mental state she's supposed to be in. So it just ends up making her mental state seem disingenuous and therefore her character unlikable. You're like, you couldn't be thinking the things you're thinking and be in the place you are and still putting in all that hair gel and eyeliner in the morning. It doesn't make any sense. Also, Jessica Chastain looked so short in this movie, it also was distracting. She's always seemed like just regular height to me, but in this film, she seemed not just short, but like on a different scale than everyone else. And so I spent a good deal of the film being like, I had no idea that Jessica Chastain was so short. How short must she be? I thought she was short, but she looks even shorter in that shot. So is she like 5 feet, under 5 feet? She looks really tiny. And as you can tell, I was distracted during a lot of this movie because there isn't a lot of story to hang on to hook you in. So you spend time looking at people's height and their hair and their makeup and feeling really bad for James McAvoy. So what do I think of this film? I think that considering the buzz that it got out of Toronto, the 2 single films must be pretty good. So if you want to see this at all, go see the 2 single films. And also, the supporting actors are very good here, but they're hardly at all featured in this compilation of the 2 films. So I'm only assuming that they're left on the cutting room floor and have much larger roles in the 2 respective films. The parents are brilliantly cast. They actually look like Jessica Chastain and James McAvoy. I had no idea William Hurt looked so much like Jessica Chastain. It was really interesting to see. So they're all very good. And also the actors who play the best friends, Bill Hader for James McAvoy, and I believe Jess Weixler plays Jessica Chastain's sister, and she's very good. But they're not in here enough. So if you want to do this, go bite the bullet, see the 2 films. But I think that them is just simply not worth seeing. All right, so that's my review of The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby. If you've seen the movie, please leave your own thoughts down below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and you can check out some more episodes right now.